I went to go record some Battlefield 4 footage for this video to keep it more in line and streamlined with the topic of the discussion, which is Battlefield 5. Unfortunately, Origin has been acting up. I couldn't connect, so you're stuck with some more Battle for Azeroth footage. No apologies offered. I'm not going to give them to you. Just accept it. Anything that has to do with the topic will be provided, don't worry. Battlefield, it's been a hard-charging, hard-hitting series really since its inception. It's been a hard competitor against Call of Duty and other first-person shooters in the past, to the point those are really the only two cross-platform shooters that seem to matter anymore. Halo's gone the way of the dodo. Really, Halo 1 was the only one that was cross-platform. Medal of Honor, who even remembers it at this point? But these two games have gone through different iterations, from World War II, which both started out in, to the modern day with Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Battlefield 3 and 4, to the future with Battlefield 2142 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. They tend to be a lot closer in terms of parity in sales than other games competing against one another, and both have solid, rabid fan bases that are not likely to switch to the other. Personally, I stick with Battlefield over COD. The last COD game I played that I found palatable was Modern Warfare. And I'm talking the original Modern Warfare, not Modern Warfare 2 or even the resculpted version, the remastered version as they put it. But there are others who would say the opposite. They prefer Call of Duty to Battlefield. It's pick whatever you like. The recent debacle, however, stems from what many believe is the decision to include women characters in Battlefield 5, which is set in World War II. There's no denying women fought in the war. Many partisans in the Ukraine and Poland were women, but most were used as dispatch couriers or spies, since women were not considered as likely to be active combatants as men. They weren't on the front lines. Medic, corpsman, RP duty, those were specific to men. It's a far cry from now where females do go on patrols with the combat troops as medics and corpsmen. Featuring a woman on the box art for 5 probably did trigger a few, and I stress a few, men, but the majority probably don't care. I know I don't. When it comes right down to it, SJWs aren't planning on buying the game anyways, so the inclusion aspect doesn't really fall into this. Likewise, hardcore fans are going to buy it if they have the money, even if they're a month or two out. This all comes on the heels of an investment group saying that both Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2 are doing better in pre-sales than Battlefield 5 is. That's not unexpected because both games have been highly anticipated, with Red Dead Redemption being arguably the most anticipated game this year. Many YouTube commentators chimed in to say that the game was failing due to the inclusion angle, with video game blog One Angry Gamer coming out point blank and saying that the, quote, politically correct depiction of the Second World War game, unquote, is a major factor contributing to the low sales. Citing this article, YouTube personality The Quartering glorified the low sales, making a 12-minute video in which he attributed sales to, quote, making the game for video game journalists, I mean activists, and not your customers, unquote. They also point to EA's chief design officer, Patrick Sutherland, leaving the company, saying he is being forced out in October for the poor pre-sales for Battlefield 5. This is simply not the case, with EA giving him a $20 million bonus in stock options to keep him. Last year, he made over $45 million for himself because of his work, and he was with the company in one form or another for 20 years. He started out as the CEO of DICE. He's been active in many of the marketing decisions for EA over the past 12 of those years, but he teased on LinkedIn that he was going to be staying in gaming after leaving EA, which is probably why EA tried to keep him. He's a highly desirable candidate, and EA wants to keep him. He does make them money, and EA wants that money. In short, this claim also falls flat on its face when looked at with supporting evidence. The truth, however, is that many of these people push an agenda like those they criticize, and they force their facts to fit their theories rather than having the theories support the facts. Video game critic and reviewer AngryJoe, however, had a different take. Citing the launch date, showing a list of games coming out around that time, a list you can see here, and I admit I ripped off from Joe, Go watch his video. It's in the description below. It's definitely worth watching. He says that much of it is likely because people have already purchased the games they want, and Battlefield 5, being between the two games I previously mentioned, is probably not high on that list, especially when deals will be just a few months down the road with the Christmas season starting. This is, for the record, a point I agree with, but it doesn't show some of the other highly anticipated games such as Battle for Azeroth. A lot of games come out around this time and going into the Christmas season that people want. It's, you have to pick and choose what you want many times. You can't really blame SJWs for something that happens literally every year. Now, there's no denying that SJWs tend to infiltrate and demonize gamers and try to force developers to make their products more, quote, inclusive. But pre-sales do not determine a game's longevity. Titanfall 2 deployed between two highly anticipated titles and is still doing well despite low pre-sales. Other games have as well, and certainly there's a claim to be made that people want more historically accurate or realistic games. But the truth is Battlefield Bad Company 2 sold well, despite the premise being more or less sci-fi than we would accept as realistic. Battlefield 1 did exceptionally well, but it was helped by a strong marketing campaign, something EA hasn't done with Battlefield 5, and that is also likely hampering sales. Now we move on to the second topic that I'm not going to spend too much time on, and that's the drama regarding AngryJoe, specifically this video I'm referencing, because it's claimed that Joe is deleting comments. That's a possibility, and it wouldn't be the first time he's done so. In 2017, he completely disabled comments from all his videos after he failed to keep up with promises and timelines that he had made, something I am far more guilty of doing than he is. But he took a lot of flack because he wanted a vacation. As far as I'm concerned, he was entitled to it, since he'd been working hard for years. Many of his fans called him out for doing this, citing a tweet he made in 2014, in which he promised never to turn off comments on his videos, and that he'd ignore a few bitchy, whiny kids to get to the great discussion. He amended it when he did so, saying there is no great discussion in his comments, and that people are determined to make his YouTube comments section a shitfest in all his videos. I think he was tired of constant insults and the like, but the truth is once you start down this road, you realize how much easier it is on your ego and on your life, really, to make your comments a hug box for supporters. The fact that he's incredibly combative when replying to people who say he's deleting comments is pretty indicative of him hiding something. I'm on the fence on this one, though, and I'm not afraid to admit it. We've seen him hide from people angry at him before, but at the same time, I've had comments deleted on my channel that were posted, and I know I didn't delete them. In fact, I responded to many of them. Maybe it's a YouTube algorithm. Maybe the people posting the comments are deleting them and trying to make him look bad. Who knows? I know that many comments caught by YouTube are flagged as spam or abusive, and I routinely go through them to make sure it's a legitimate flag. I don't, once again, delete comments. But that's my take on this entire debacle. It's not an SJW shillfest causing the low sales, it's the lack of marketing and putting the game between other highly anticipated titles. Feel free to comment below, and I'll see you next time.